What did you take away from this morning's scrimmage?
Well, we just, as a staff, one of the reasons we did this, obviously, because we haven't played a game in a while. And I just think the quicker you can get into game situations, the better you're going to be. And people think we got some time, but before you know it, August 1st will be here. So we have to put these guys in game-like situations and get them acclimated to the game pace and the changes and the shift lengths and the little details and nuances of a game. And the thing I really liked, I was actually unsure of how long that second half was going to go. I was planning on going for 20-minute periods, stop time, and I was curious to see how the second half was going to go because I didn't want to have a scrimmage deteriorate. One of the things we've talked about as a staff is building blocks, building every day, and it's not about going for a long period of time. It's about being efficient and playing at a pace and keep building every day. And I was impressed at the pace we were able to sustain through the 40 minutes. I loved our work ethic, and I loved the fact that there wasn't a big drop-off within the 40-minute scrimmage.
You know now you're playing at noon for game one, and I'm wondering, if you have already begun to plot how you want to prepare a team for playing at such an unusual time and in such an unusual atmosphere.
Yes, we've talked about. We've actually had a game in I think it was Nashville this year. Was it Nashville? It was a 1:00 Eastern start, but we played at 12, and there was a lot of debate on what time should we get them up, how many times should they eat. There's just so many things that went into it, and so we actually we actually winning the game and playing well. So I think we're going to use that blueprint for those noon games. It is a little bit different, but not that big of a difference from what these guys are used to. And the crowd situation is going to be certainly something that guys are going to have to get used to. And the sooner you get used to it, the better off you're going to be. So that's something that we certainly will address.
Because of the unknown and because you don't know who's in what kind of game condition, et cetera, do you have to, I don't want to say back off, but do you have to adjust what you want to do and the way you coach these guys through this, at least initially?
Yeah, we've talked about that a lot. I mean, we've got to be able to adapt, and we may have a plan in place. And as practice is evolving, or after a practice, talk to the trainers and the strength staff. And, we've got to constantly monitor where we're at. And, we feel really good about where we're at after 3 days because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if I've ever been in more of an uncertain time when you're playing in practices and wondering what to do. As a staff, we went round and round on how to handle these first 3 days. And now that we're done with it, we feel pretty good about, how these 3 days unfolded and where these guys are at.
Yeah, David, to follow up on Larry's question, it's a two-parter, actually. One, what did you guys do for that noon start? What was some of the specifics, the protocol that you guys followed for that noon start in Nashville? And two, I was just on a Zoom with Rod Brindamore, and he brought this up that he's not sure how much playoff experience will matter for guys early on in this because this whole thing is new to everybody. Do you agree? Do you think playoff experience will be a factor at all when you get there?
Yeah, it is going to be different. And obviously, Rod's been through it as a player and a coach. When you go into Carolina for game one with the sold-out building, it's certainly going to be a lot different than going into Toronto playing against Carolina with nobody in the stands. So I think what he's alluding to is a huge part of playoff hockey is the atmosphere and the environment. And that is going to be different for sure. So I do agree with him that is going to be different, and maybe playoff experience isn't going to be as big a factor as maybe it would be under normal circumstances. That being said, it's a 3-2 hockey game with 10 minutes to go. Playoff experience is going to matter regardless of how many people are in the stands. So, but I don't think it's going to matter as much, and I agree with what he's saying. I don't think it's going to be as big of an impact as it usually is.
I know we're 3 days in, and I know you have a long way to go before you even get to the hub city, but you do have a decision to make as far as your goaltender. What did you see from Igor in particular today?
Yeah, I thought Igor had a great day today. I thought he was outstanding today. I liked all of them. I thought Hank had a good day. I thought Georgie had a good day. So it's not a surprise. As I've said, we have a lot of faith in all three of these guys, and it's let the battle continue.
Which guys do you feel like are in, as close to peak physical condition as they can be in terms of what you've seen? Which guys do you feel like are maybe ahead of others? I mean, and especially with the extras, the first look, getting some of these young guys out there with the NHL guys, did any of them stand out today?
I don't see much discrepancy between anybody, really. I don't think there's one guy that is in incredible shape And I don't think there's anybody that you roll your eyes and go, oh boy, we got a lot of work to do with these guys. I think these guys have done a really good job with working with whatever they had to be in a pretty good spot right now under these difficult circumstances. So I don't think anyone has really separated themselves either way, whether they're, like I said, whether they're in incredible shape or whether they're not in great shape. So, we're pretty pleased with where we are as a group from a conditioning standpoint.
Do you have to also keep an eye on the future, like Kravtsov and Miller in these situations? Now, do you, or do you just not have time for that because of what you're preparing for? And the other thing is, do you have any thought on Adam Fox not being a finalist for the Calder?
The first question is, we're always watching. These guys are here, and I've been on the ice with the extras. I've also been one day and the other day watching up top. So it always matters with the young guys. That being said, it's playoff hockey, and we're going to play the best guys to give us a chance to win. So that doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to try to help these guys develop, and maybe it'll happen sooner than later. Who knows? But we're going to continue to do our job with those guys. And but that being said, this is all about winning playoff hockey games. Secondly, disappointed Foxy isn't one of the finalists. It's a strong group. I certainly understand that. I might be a little biased, but this guy has done an awful lot for us. He's, not only, again, I keep focusing on the defensive side of it because I think his offensive side speaks for itself. He's a guy that, obviously we're fortunate to have Tony here, so his power play opportunities probably hasn't been what, Quinn Hughes has been and McCarr's has. That's not taking anything away from the season they've had. They've had spectacular seasons too. So it's not an easy thing to do when you've got this extremely talented group of rookies.
You've brought this up in the past, the idea of Capo Kakko and looking at Svechnikov as sort of a comparison, both number 2 pick, and Svechnikov, had a good year, scored 20 goals in his rookie season, but then clearly took off, hit another level this season. Is that something in your conversations with Kakko that he sees that comparison to? Does he get that and understand it and realize what you're talking about with that?
Yeah, we've actually shown some clips to him about Svechnikov's game and talked about him about the difference in his, end of his first season compared to the beginning of his first season. Talked about this is an adjustment period for all rookies, regardless of where you were picked. So he understands that, why it has happened to him, why his season evolved the way it did. And, I really like what I see out of him right now. I think there's, like I said yesterday, there's a level of excitement in his game. It looks like there's a little bit different level of confidence in his game. And we're anticipating a good run here for him.